All right, welcome to On The Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. Today we're here with Big O.
We're recording.
Coach Evan Hearn. And the man of the hour, our special guest, head coach and athletic director, Nocona Indians, Mr. Jeff Hill.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You got all the fans already.
Yeah, I see them out there.
All right. So I guess just go ahead. We'll get right into it. Just introduce yourself. Tell the people what you're about, who you are.
Yeah. Jeff Hill, first year at Nocona as the athletic director and head football coach. I was there last year as the offense coordinator. Before that, I spent 2 years as the head coach and athletic director at S&S, and then before that, I spent time in the Metroplex, about 8 years at Hebron High School. Was receivers coach. As I finished at Hebron, I was the offensive coordinator under Coach Brian Brazel, kind of a legend. Not kind of, he is a legend in state of Texas coaching. And then before that, I was at Whitewright for 5 years. So started out a little small school, wanted to see something a little bigger, and went to Hebron. It was a great experience. And then get my family back to smaller communities and a smaller town, and that's what I grew up, and with my parents being teachers and coaches, and so I wanted my kids to have the same experience. And fortunately, I've been able to be a head coach or a coordinator or some sort at these places, and so I've been very blessed, been very lucky, and I just I couldn't see myself doing any other profession.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You said lucky and blessed, and
Yeah.
every time I hear those two words together, I always say my wife says
I
you
thought
can't
you
be
were gonna
lucky
say
and
you
blessed.
think of me.
No.
So,
anyways,
how many years collectively
Yeah.
have you been coaching?
This will be my 17th year.
Man,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
got some tenure in 90,
Yeah.
in 9-4. We got some guys that's been doing it for a long time, which we all know. I'll give that plug right now. We all know it's not easy, but shout out to his lovely wife, Miss Amy. She's here with us on set today because we know to be a coach, it takes a lot for the wives as well. It takes a lot from the family, and they just have to be appreciative for them to give their time that they and their commitment that they give for 17 years is a long time.
Yeah, I mean it's a family effort. I mean it's as much as we're away from from our family. There's got to be somebody at home that holds it down, and thank goodness for my wife and letting me kind of just take off with my career and it's been awesome, and so I can't thank her enough for it. So I'm truly appreciative.
good job.
So, Coach, as we dive into your career, you talked about you grew up small school. Tell us about and your parents were teachers and coaches. So, tell us a little bit about your childhood growing up.
Yeah, so both my parents were teachers and coaches. Ronnie Hill was my dad, and then Robin Hill was my mom. And we started off down in South Texas area around Houston, at a place called Wallace Brazos. We were there for about 7 or 8 years, and then moved to a place called Hempstead. My dad was the AD there for 2 years, and then we moved back up north. My parents are originally from Oklahoma, and so they wanted to get a little closer up there towards their family. And we landed in Bonham. A guy named Duke Christian hired my dad, and then Duke left after a couple of years, and then my dad took it over, and he coached me as in my high school career, and helped coach my little brother. Sister went through there, and my mom coached my sister, and so we were always in the gym. We were out on the field. We were always doing something athletically or athletic wise. And I wouldn't say athletically at all times, but we were always doing something. And I want my kids to kind of grow up around that same environment of just knowing the kids that they see, that they look up to right now. And some kids, I grew up, I emulated. I wanted to be like that kid, and so I want my kids to kind of see that same thing of, kids having great grade point averages, being a leader, working hard in the weight room, out on the track, and things like that. So those are things that were instilled in me at a young age, and so and I think those things apply to whatever career you're going to have later on in life. And so when my kids get to experience that, I can know that I'm trying to set them up for success later on in life too, in some way or form. Provide for your family and have a career. So
How many kids do you have, and what's their ages?
I got 3. Got one, Camden. He's 4. Kaysen, he is 6, and then Kinsley, she's 9.
Okay.
So they're all little ones.
So 2 boys, 1 girl.
2 boys, 1 girl.
So real quick, your dad was a head coach in AD football?
Hit football, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep.
and you played quarterback?
I did play quarterback, and I think
Just guessed that.
I think
so smart.
He
every
looks like a quarterback.
I know. That's what I was saying. I was like, man, I'm going to stick this out.
Yeah.
And then now you got to wait, and then you're going to coach your son.
yeah,
Two
yeah,
of them.
two of them. I got 2
and
of
he
them.
plays top of Texas, right? Your 9-year-old. Does he play top of Texas football?
No, well,
No,
no, I haven't
9-year-old's
done
the
it.
daughter.
No, your 9-year-old's
No, no.
daughter,
Oh,
but
9-year-old's daughter,
the
okay.
little one, or middle one.
Did he do flag for Nocona?
No, he didn't do it this year.
Okay.
He'll do it this next year though.
Okay.
So we're working on him. I think the little one, he's going to be like a lineman or something because all he does is headbutt people and run into stuff, and he just
You
jumps
watch.
off
Hey,
counters.
well,
Watch,
know-
he'll be
you know as
he'll
a
be the
coach,
most athletic one.
Yeah, you got to have those guys. You
Yeah.
know that as a coach. And so, with your dad being a coach, just a twofold question, as Big O say. With your dad being a coach, one, did that inspire you to want to be a coach?
Well, really, my mom did. Honestly, playing for my dad was awesome. Even though every day he swore I was trying to get him fired in practice some way somehow.
He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
He's making me look bad.
Yeah, you make me, so but on Friday nights, I wouldn't have traded that for anything in the world, and really all the practice just being around them, my dad did play a big factor into that, but my mom was really the reason why I got into teaching and coaching. I saw the relationships that she made with kids, and I saw the relationships that she made with even just kids that she taught. And so the impact that she was having on a lot of people really inspired me to want to go be a teacher and coach and really try to have an impact on others. And so that she was a real big reason as to why I got into teaching and coaching.
And so the second part of my question is, it sounds like you were around small, as you mentioned, small school as in your life as you grew up, and then your first job was at Whitewright. Is that correct?
First job at Whitewright.
And then you make the big jump to 5A. I think at the time 5A Hebron.
Yeah, just turned 6A at
they
that
just
time.
turned 6A
Yeah.
And work with, like you said, a legend and Coach Brazil. So tell us, how was that for you?
So it was a culture shock and eye-opening experience for me because I never knew what a feeder school was. Never heard of one before, so whenever I start looking at the high school and I see that there's this middle school and this middle school and this middle school, and they all converge into this freshman center, and then this freshman center houses sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and I'm going, there can't be this many people. And sure enough, there are, and they're everywhere. But it is a machine. I mean, you handle your area and you try to be the best you can in your area, and band does theirs, and JROTC does theirs, and everybody's just a cog in the machine. And so it was amazing to just be a part of it, and then try to have the impact that you do on all those kids. And I mean, if I didn't get a head coaching job, I'd love to stay there with Coach Brazel, because it was just he was just amazing to work for, amazing to be around, just the wisdom that he had and the knowledge that he had about the game and just about how to treat coaches and how to treat kids it was second to none. And so I learned so much from him on how to run a program and how to take care of people. And his biggest thing was how to show people how to be a Christian, and that was something that was very important to me also. So,
and you mentioned that
awesome.
I think my first job was at 2AD2 Health Center, Texas, out there.
Okay.
I grew up in Plainview, 4A, which is now 5A, and so we're about 1,600. Then my first job was at 2AD2, which we're about 150, 160, and then after 2 years, I make the jump to Friendship, and they're 3,000 kids. Where it's a freshman center alone, and then, like you said, a sophomore through senior, and it's like there's a lot of hands on deck. And you got to have those people to help, like you said, run the machine. And like you said, 3 feeder schools into one, and they all become. So I know exactly what you mean by that.
It was just different, something I've never experienced before, and it was awesome though. I'm glad I got to experience it. I did, and so. But yeah, being at 2A school, you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're coaching 3-4 sports,
Mowing.
and the middle school.
Yeah. I'm about to say
Mowing the yard.
knowing everybody and
Painting the field.
Yep.
I mean, just anything and everything. And I kind of got spoiled at Hebron because it was your job was coach.
That's
It wasn't do all that other stuff, and so it was neat.
So I guess let's go ahead and jump into. You mentioned last year you're the OC, and
Yes, sir.
then this year you transition to the big seat. But describe last season, wins, losses, who you won to, who you lost to, and then we'll move forward to look at this season.
Yeah, last year, tough year, dealt with a lot of injuries. There were a lot of kids that were returning starters from the previous district championship team, undefeated district championship team. And so there were some kids that were coming back that, we were all excited about. And we scrimmaged them when I was at S&S, and I was like, man, these kids can go. And then, and then just kind of, I wouldn't say snowballed, but it's just series of unfortunate events that just happened of this kid gets hurt and this kid gets hurt and then that kid gets hurt. And you look up and, you've got, out of two-way starters, you got basically 14 of them that are out because they play both sides of the ball. And and then we turn around and we're looking at putting kids who are 13 and 14 years old, handing them the ball, and they're pups, and they're trying as hard as they can. They're giving every ounce of energy and guts they've got, and it's just they're just pups,
And I think also what kind of hurt last year for you guys is too, first year in a new district, and the district changed tremendously where you guys had what I would call this some extremely tough teams that they got to put in the district with. And that's one thing when you change district, kind of don't know the teams that you're playing, and then you're facing the injury bug. That makes it a lot harder on the coaching staff. And like you said, the worst thing that could happen, but it's going to be a blessing this year. I'm claiming that for you guys. It's those younger kids having to get those nicks and bruises because sometimes you find out real quick who wants to be a football player and who don't. Because when you get thrown into the fire early, you're looking across this grown man, this kid. That grown, he's trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it build resilience. So hopefully, I will say, as I watched you guys this season, scoreboard doesn't always tell the progression of a season. I feel like you guys got better. The reps were needed. We're a youthful team. Like I said, I think this year is going to be a year where they see the growth. So, like I said, you guys went 1-9 last year. Tough. You beat S&S. Couldn't lose that game. You lost that game, you would have been like, man, it just would have been one of those situations. But I think this year, I was excited to see have you on this show because I really do think Nocona's going to have a chance to turn it around this year, just from and it starts with the players. I'm saying this to the viewers because a lot of times I've been that parent before. We've all been there before. We think that the coaches can work miracles. And when I say miracles, I mean the coaches don't put the countless hours. They put the countless hours of preparation, but the work is done in the summertime. The work's done in the weight room. The kids have to be hungry. They have to have drive and those things to want to get better. The coaches can motivate them, but parents, they need you guys to help push and get those kids there. So I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a turning point. I think, like I said, your experience and things like that, I think can kind of play a good factor because one thing I think you probably do bring to the table, coming from a 5A program, you've seen what the strength and conditioning part needs to look like.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes at the smaller schools they don't necessarily understand the progression. And I didn't even realize that until I was kind of talking to some guys, and they were like, no, it's very detailed and coordinated in the 6A and the 5A level we're working this muscle group, we're working this, we're doing this. And that's why their kids look that way.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of those things. So I guess my question to piggyback off of last year's, because we had Nocona pick to do really, really good, even in a new district. So with those kind of not reaching the level of what everybody wants, the Nocona way, because Nocona wins. I feel like every time I look up, I'm sitting there winning at something, So how can you come in this year, of course, being new in the role that you're in, how do you get the football program going back in the right direction after having a season that wasn't what everybody probably wanted?
Yeah, really the big thing is you got to focus on yourself, and you got to focus on internal things the things that we can control. And so, playing with great effort, constant, just relentless effort, constantly doing that, and practicing with relentless effort, help us get on that. Missed assignments, guys who know what to do, focus on that, and then really just playing for each other, like bringing us closer as a unit. And there's a lot of guys that they bleed. A lot of our kids, they bleed orange and black. They're not looking to see if the grass is greener somewhere else. Mm-hmm. They are Nocona kids. They are there. They're trying to make it as best as they possibly can, and they want to try to leave a legacy. So for the big thing, let's focus on the things that we can control right now, and still being young. We'll have a big sophomore class coming in, and then we got some sprinkled in some juniors and seniors that are coming in, and guys with experience. But just trying to understand how to practice, mm-hmm. how to play the game the right way, knowing what to do, and not thinking about what to do. And, y'all know just as much as anybody else, if I'm out there thinking, mm-hmm. it ain't good. I'm playing it slow. Yep. And so we want to try to narrow some things down and just allow our kids just go play fast. And so then, like I said, that last thing of just playing for each other and being there for each other and understanding, hey, man, this is something bigger than just me. That's a big focus for this next year, is getting them on that track and meeting with kids and saying, hey, all right, what's it going to be like this next year? Like, what does a good practice look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Like, what is this? Or are we just going to run around out there and hopefully that ball gets in the end zone somehow, on our side? So we've got some kids that are willing to step up and do that, and they're willing to step up and lead that. So, and I've got to allow them some control to do that too. We want to try to control everything as much as we can, but at the end of the day, it's 11 bodies out there playing a game, and we can't play for them. So controlling the things that we can control is a big focus.
So how many kids are you guys losing, and how many returning starters and things like that you guys have coming back?
Well, looking at that, because we did go through some injuries, and all the injuries didn't happen all at once. I mean, some of the key players got hurt early on, and then just kind of this guy had to miss a couple games, and then he'd be back, and then another guy would have to miss a couple of games. So looking at it, we're returning 6 or 7, I would say, true starters. We're sprinkled in with another, 3 or 4 guys who started, last year, and so trying to, just trying to build on what they did. What was the other part? I'm sorry.
How many key players did you guys lose, like seniors?
Yeah. We lost 2 defensive offensive linemen, 3 defensive offensive lineman guys. Our tight end, he was a guy that just a dependable kid, and then our receiver, and then a linebacker who his junior year he had like 140-something tackles, and he was going to be a running back, and we lose him before we go play our scrimmage versus Petrolia. And so we didn't have him all year, and he finally got back halfway through basketball season or first part of basketball season. So he's lucky he got to play any sports this last year, but losing those I'd say 5 or 6 key guys from previous year, but I didn't get to see him that much, because
you were the new guy.
I was a new guy. I watched some of the scrimmage just run right by us a time or two, but I just got to see him in practice and didn't really get to see him in a game because they ended up getting hurt. But I mean, that's how things go. I mean, we've all been around football long enough, and any sports. I mean, those things can happen anytime, and it's unfortunate. And you just absolutely hate it for kids, but knowing that they're going to come out better than because of it. So
do you have I guess on this platform we like to give kids as much shout out as we can. So do you have a list of maybe some of your key players or key positions that you're looking forward to most this year? Maybe some leaders that are stepping up. Maybe a couple younger kids that might be coming up from junior high that might see a little bit of field time in varsity level?
So our last year, 8th grade, we're undefeated district champions.
Oh, wow.
So those kids are all kind of moving up. and so I want to try to keep those guys together as much as I can.
They're coming from those 3 feeder schools?
Going to middle school.
If only. No. So I'm gonna try to keep those guys down as best I can. I try not to play a freshman if I don't have to. But guys that had to play last year that were really young. Jax Fuller played running back. He's coming back. Crossan McCray, we call him Mackey. He played running back last year and safety. Jax played safety also. Logan Gaston, his brother was Caden Gaston, who's one of the fast receivers, ended up getting hurt early in the year last year. Those 3 guys are going to play some key roles coming back. Brody Langford, he's another one that plays outside linebacker, quarterback. And he broke his collarbone the very first play of the very first game, not game, but very first scrimmage.
Oh, for the season?
Yeah, he was done for the season. And so I don't know if I should say what he got hurt, but I mean, it was right off the bat.
Were you contemplating? Well, say to your wife, "Did I make the right decision?"
Well, I have not even thought about that. Yeah. I mean. As I told you before, I'm looking for a place who can, where I can raise my kids.
Right.
And that means a lot more to me than wins and losses at the end of the day. And so I want to make an impact on those kids and be there, whether we're winning or losing. I want to be there to help those kids one way or another. But those are some of our younger kids that had to play last year that are moving up or that played last year on varsity, and now. The good thing about it, kind of what you were talking about earlier, was they can get spooked, and they didn't. They did not get scared off. They got back in the weight room. They started lifting, gaining weight, and knowing now, all right, I felt like I was behind the 8 ball a little bit, and if they would play JV, I think they'd been just fine. There's been no problem. But for them, it just made them hungry, and they're coming back in the off season just ready to get after it. So. Those guys are our key ball carriers, and so those guys coming back are going to help quite a bit. As far as O-line, we had a kid that was a sophomore last year. His name's Trip Acker. He'll be a junior this next year. 6'3", 293. I think that's what he weighed in. He's a big kid.
He's strong too.
And he just he's just now starting to figure out, and come into his body. And so
I can move these guys.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Trip plays baseball too, right?
That was golly, that was brother, or not brother, but different one. Yeah.
Yep.
So Trip is Trip's a big boy, and he can figure out, he can move some bodies around. He'll be all right. And so got him coming back. Another kid named Hunter Nail played center for us last year, and he's coming back. He's about 5'10". 280. He's a bigger sized kid, but we depend on those guys who are veterans, quote unquote veterans, to be the leaders out there. And
we just need Trip to trip out. That's what we need. We need him to trip out. I mean, just put your hands on somebody, Trip. It's
Lay
okay.
hands on him.
Yeah, trip out. You're always jealous of me, man. This guy here, Miss Amy, she's on the side. If you get some holy oil, just let me know. We'll lay hands on him. Deliver him today. So I noticed you named 2 offensive linemen, 2 guys, Trip, and what was the other guy?
Hunter Nail, yeah.
So I know you called it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still gonna call it this year, or did you guys bring in a new OC or anything like that? Or
yeah, so I hired an offense coordinator, and I hired him with intent on him calling the plays, and that's what I told him. I said, I want you to call the offense that you know, and the offense that you trust, and I want you to go make it your own. And that was really something that Coach Brazel, did for me. Was he brought me in the office and said, I'm not going to tell you what plays to run. I might tell you, hey, let's run the ball here, or let's throw the ball here, or hey, whatever the situation is. But he's not one to tell me, he's. So that's something that I learned from him. Man, put your faith in the guys and allow them, trust them, and allow them to go do their job. You hired them for a reason to do the job. Go support them. Yep. Go support them and let them go. Just let them go. Just let them go do their job. And so that's how I felt most comfortable calling plays on Friday night. And so we hired OC, and that's kind of how I approached it with him. We're going to spend a lot of time in the summer. This summer, really just I'm understanding his offense, and then we'll go from there. So I'm excited about what he's bringing to the table. I really am. The things that I thought I would probably do next year, still continue to be the OC, and things that me and Krutzinger had talked about, moving into the next year, they were exactly the things that he's just bringing to the table. So I was like, all right, hey, I love this. Let's go.
So is scheme going to change or anything like that?
Yeah, we will. Last year we ended up going to a WingT offense and bringing a bunch of bodies in the box, and to where we're going to spread it out a little bit more, fewer people in the box, and see if we can get the ball in the hands of our dudes and let them get on the perimeter and go play and go be a dude.
Yeah,
go
be a dude.
So we got a rolling.
He's like, what? Wait.
So we got a rolling thing that we're doing right now. So
thanks to Coach Sherrill.
Coach Sherrill was a Cats guy. He's a cat. I told him around here, you hear guys say "dude" a lot. Coach Carney was on the show, and he said,
Dog.
He said, I'm a dog. I say dog. So it's kind of funny to see what different coaches said. He's a dude. He's a cat. Just hearing different coaches say that. So that's why we was like, he's a dude.
I said all year this year, be a kid. I said, be a kid, man, up at the plate.
Oh, baseball?
Baseball, yeah, baseball. I would say that.
Do your job, kid. Be a kid.
So do you think that could be a possible strength? And also kind of like what you have in two-way players, not being more of a power team, kind of being more of a finesse, kind of give kids an opportunity to stay a little more fresh where they are playing on both sides of the ball. And you guys probably have the athletes to kind of do those type of things. It fits their skill set probably a little bit better.
Yeah, and so you want to try to dictate the pace of the game, like so you want to try to control that as best you can. The WingT offense, we're trying to just slow everything down, and we're trying to get 3 yards at a time and just trying to just keep the ball in front of the chains and we'd rack off, maybe a 35-yard run or something like that, and then we'd stall out. And but we were trying to let that clock run quite a bit and find a way that we could kind of stay in the ball game all, the whole time until something pops, and so with this, just kind of spreading it out, it's kind of the same thing. It's just moving bodies out of the box. That's really the thing, and hopefully you get some bigger gaps. And so that's really the idea for that, and kind of the same philosophy of, hey, let's kind of just try to get yards here, gain positive yards, and then take advantage of whatever the defense gives us, and so. So, that's your question. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. Yes, sir.
All right, and let's touch on your pre. I don't think. Yeah, Krutzinger, did he come on the show last year? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your schedule remains pretty much the same.
Yes.
Moving forward this year. Could you just go through your pre-district games and then go into your district games?
Yeah. So we'll start off with Lindsay, and so we'll go over there to Lindsay, play them. Then we got Electra, and we've got Electra at home. When we go to SNS this next year, and then we got Archer City, and we're going to have Archer City at home. So that'll be our homecoming. And every 3 years, Nocona does a big homecoming, so there'll be a bunch of people there. And so they do things. When they do things, they do things the right way.
They light
over
the
there.
tower,
It's
man.
awesome,
I see that all the time.
Yeah,
It's lighting the tower.
It's awesome, man. It's a great place to be.
I love Nocona fans. Of course, when you're successful at a lot of sports, and you're running so deep into playoffs and stuff, you have what seems like a lot more focus and attention from the town. But
and then people travel, and they're there, and it's really cool to see. It really is, whether we're playing in Breckenridge in round 5 or whether we're playing in Wichita Falls in round 1. I mean, people are showing up and they're there, and or San Antonio. Yeah, I mean, it's really neat to see them. Yeah, it's really really neat to see to be a part of a town that does that, travels that well.
So let's. Oh. No, since we were talking about Nocona, I mean, you chose to come to Nocona.
Yeah.
So talk about, one, how do you settled in within your first year, and now as being the AD, how the city of Nocona has embraced you and your family. So,
settling in at a new place is always, you never know what you're getting into. But since from day one, there's just been people making us feel at home. And the big thing is making my wife and my family feel at home, and people have just done a tremendous job of making us feel that way. And whenever you, as a coach, we bounce around from place to place, and I was very fortunate to only be at a couple places within my parents' coaching career, and God bless my wife. She's only grown up in two houses her entire life, and I think I've moved her, I don't know, 8 or 9 times. So she was way outside her comfort zone, and I don't want to move my kids around a lot either, And so they've been stellar as far as embracing us as a family. And I've only had this job as AD for a month, and there's just a lot of support all around the town. They want athletic program to be very successful in anything and everything. So anytime I meet somebody, hey coach, what can we do for you? What are some things that you need from us? Hey, hey, I'm here for you. Here's my number. And so it's really neat to see that many people in that small town are just, hey, what do you need? How can we do this? Yada yada yada. So it's been wonderful. It's been great. And so I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for the kids, all the time. And
so is there anything that's going to change now that you're the AD as far as the community's involved? Maybe we hear some coaches doing like a talk with the town, or they do this or that. Do you have anything in mind that you might change up, or you're looking forward to?
Not necessarily change anything, it's already steeped in tradition, and so I wouldn't just come in and just bring something there. I've always had these ideas kind of that you take from other towns and things like that. But man,
you're the man. You get to do it.
I know, but the tradition at Nocona, man, they
you don't have to change anything necessarily. Maybe add
maybe just tweak, add or tweak some things.
Yeah.
I mean, just nothing.
The way they walk out onto the field, or the way they.
Well, I want the kids to have the input on those things of them taking ownership on some of those things. Nothing particular comes to mind for that. Now, as I walk out and go down the elevator, I'll probably think about 15 things that I want to do, and then you're going to force me to change
here,
it.
And then it makes us even
breaking news.
Yeah.
So do you have? I know a lot of coaches do, especially in football. It's just kind of one of those things. Do you have kind of like a motto type thing, like something that you bring to the table? Our new AD at City View, his thing that he's bringing to the table, love it. It's one herd. That's the thing that he's bringing to the table. Basically making everybody realize that we're not a bunch of horses, a bunch of Mustangs, we're one herd. So I like that he's bringing that. Is there something that your years of coaching? I know you've been around a lot of different coaches, One tribe. For years, they had at Ryder, they had one family, one team. That was their thing. I've seen different coaches have. Coach Aldridge, his thing was the heart of his thing. That was his kind of thing, and they're still kind of having those things. Do you bring something like that to the table that you want to instill in the district of Nocona?
Yeah, our mission statement basically is, or not basically, but our mission statement for Nocona Athletics is relentless pursuit of excellence in everything we do. So whether we're in the classroom, whether we're out in the community, whether on the track, in the weight room, relentlessly pursue excellence. Now you'll never achieve perfection or excellence, right? But it's the chasing it down and trying to achieve and following that process is way more important than actually achieving it, right? And so it's not the destination, it's how we're getting there, right? And so so that's our mission statement. Funny you talk about one tribe, right? I sat down with our leadership group of our football guys, and that was one thing they said: one tribe, one purpose. One tribe, one purpose. So you'll start seeing now how Coach Lev was been putting out one herd. You'll start seeing one tribe with the one as the I as the one. So that's kind of being one tribe.
You didn't come up with that; it was already.
Yeah.
They were already.
So I guess my last question for you, Coach. I don't know if you watch the show, but we always have a special segment called the Big O Special.
Okay.
Brought to you by Big O. All right. So,
One day we'll get you a sponsor.
man, one day. One of these
I'm
places.
telling you,
gonna-
once we get to back it, learning all this,
All right,
we
can
hit
I,
a button.
can I
and
ask you a
just-
question?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
If you had a sponsor, if you could get a sponsor, who would you have sponsor you for this particular question?
Oh,
Anybody that's willing to sponsor, I'm open.
anybody willing to feed me?
Yeah. So the question is, so I'm gonna see if he get it right. I
He
always
only
ask-
been there a year.
No, he better get this right.
Okay.
This
I'm
is
just trying to.
This
give him
is a no-brainer, right? Well, he might not. I don't know. What's your favorite place to eat at in Nocona?
Oh, Trace Ninios. Yeah.
I knew it was going. Man, that
I still
place,
ain't been.
because you don't know
Oh,
no better.
man.
No,
Oh,
the time that we've
yeah.
gone through, been to Nocona.
Just pull over.
Yeah,
just
I don't
pull
know.
over.
Say, dude,
Somebody will pick you up and take you there. I guarantee it.
say that place is a staple. Any chance I talk about Nocona, I ask people this, and it's every single time people say that.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's not just the food; it's the people that work there.
Oh,
The atmosphere, most respectful people. They make you feel like family when you're
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
They treat you good. So now I have a challenge for you. You can blame Coach Jay from Henrietta.
Coach Jones.
So he was able to, at a restaurant in Henrietta.
Well,
open
no,
to-
this is how
open
you
to-
do it. This is how before you ask him that, ask him what's his
Oh yeah,
dish.
what's your favorite dish there? Yeah,
Oh, at Trace Ninios?
yes sir.
So I went this past week, and they had something I've never ordered at a restaurant before. I've ordered it at a particular
that's how it
fast food
starts.
place, but I never ordered at a restaurant. I didn't even know it existed. But the double-decker tacos, they have double-decker
Hey,
tacos.
I haven't had that yet.
Hey,
sir.
well,
But
I'm
what
telling
how
you.
do you like? How do you like any specialties or
You
any?
just throw it all. You whatever they throw on there.
Sound like
I
we
mean,
need to meet Coach
I'm
Hill
telling you,
at Trace Neal.
it's.
I mean,
it's good.
from my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Like
to.
normally I'd go with, like cheese enchiladas or sour cream chicken enchiladas, something like that, maybe chimichanga. But the double decker taco, I was like, they came with 2 double decker tacos and came with some rice and beans. I was like,
I think
And
we
what's
should
the
try all of
drink?
those.
What's the drink?
Coke Zero is what I kind of use to drink. Coke Zero water.
So that's the
so-
Coach Hill special right there.
it needs to be called the Over the Hill Tacos.
On the hill.
Over the
He's
hill.
saying you old Coach.
Over the
You
hill.
heard him?
Hey, 17 years, I guess. I
Yeah,
got
he
to
been
got
in
to
the
be a little
game.
bit there.
You
of
know,
an age,
double
you know?
decker.
man.
Hill times 2 is what we can call it. Trace, y'all heard it here first. We need to get that on the menu.
Sponsored by.
Big O. Yeah, we need to get that on the menu. So Coach J has something. They named something. They watched it. So they seen the show, and they was like, "Well, we need to get him something." So whether
No,
you
he
correct-
told you what he liked, and
Yeah,
he said it.
yeah, the
but
Baja- the
he
Baja
liked
burrito.
it with this added and this
Yeah,
and
the
this,
Baja
and then
burrito.
they made that after him and called it the Coach Jones
So
special.
we're gonna Coach Hill's gonna come up with something that he likes.
Yeah.
He gonna
You
throw,
got to put a twist on there.
put a little twist on it, and we're gonna get. He's probably a simple like me guy. I just like to eat.
If they asked me to name it, I'd say it's the O special. Is what I'd say. That's what I'd say. I'd say it'd be the O
like,
special.
you gonna cry, ain't you?
That's what I. That's exactly what I tell them. I said, make this the O special.
Well, what's your dish there while we're on it? Maybe they're gonna watch the show.
You don't need to know what my dish is. I change it up every time, bro. I just like to eat.
It
So
can't- you
I
can't
go
get-
with the
you can't go bad.
I
There's
normally go
nothing
with
you
the
can order.
special. Whatever's on the special, and they have like different specials like
gotta
that they
have the
run all the
queso.
different
Yeah.
times.
I know.
I gotta have some
queso is
queso
good.
Hey,
and
I'm
probably
hungry,
just
dog.
I'm probably just gonna have a soft taco and
I like the
rice and
double decker.
beans and
Yep.
some queso.
So
with
he
my
gotta-
chips.
he gotta-
you gotta have good salsa.
He got to go with a double decker and then maybe add an
We can-
enchilada and a sour
we can
cream,
add
and you
some.
call it the Hill
There you
special.
go. Yeah,
It
that's
will
a
be
lot
in
of
there.
food for me though.
Yeah, so we appreciate you being on here. Like I said, I think the season's gonna be a good season. Like I said, when you get in coaching for the right reason, first thing he said, I'll say it. He was like, I didn't come to Nocona. I wasn't looking for a place about coaching. I was looking for a place to raise my family. And when you get into the situation and you get into it for that reason, good soil is always planted. So, Coach, we're wishing you the best.
Appreciate it.
You also said something about being a man of faith. When you have those two things at the forefront, our kids will follow, and they follow after great leadership. And I had good coaches like that, and I'll be willing to run through a wall for them today at this age. So those kids are going to play hard for you. And like you said, it's not always about the wins and losses, but we know we're going to win some more games this season for sure.
He just mentioned running through a wall. I don't know why this happened, but me and you were discussing earlier about
Do we want to talk about it?
yeah. We should
All right,
ask
let's
every
do
coach that. So ask
All right,
Coach
so
What you got?
today at work, I'm talking to my coworker, and I don't remember if I saw like a picture or what, like online or something. But it was a picture of a crocodile, and I'm like, okay, if it's you versus a 5-foot crocodile, and you're locked in a room, and only one of y'all can make it out.
I'm gonna win.
No, I'm saying no weapons, no nothing. It's you and a crocodile.
I'm gonna win.
But how?
I'm gonna take him through the wild. I'm telling you.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah, I'm coming out. That crocodile's going to turn into some boots later, or a belt.
But how? What's the approach? They got thick skin.
It don't matter.
I'm
I'm
telling
gonna find something.
I got a family at home, too.
That's what I
elbow
told.
or a foot.
That's what I told. I told him, and I
grab by
told the guy.
tail.
I told the guy. I was like, my coworker, and I told him. I said, I think I'll just start with like eye gouging, like get on the back and just gouge
Well, you gotta
his
get
eyes
home
out.
to your family. That's how
Because
I'm
how do you?
thinking.
Yeah, like
That's I'm gonna be
Yeah.
coming out there missing a couple
my
of
coworker
limbs.
said.
Yeah,
My
but
coworker
I'm
was
coming
like,
out. Ain't
he's
no
like,
doubt about
how
it.
heavy do you think it is? He's like, I think I might grab him by the tail and like swing him around and smack him in the walls or something. He's like, I don't know, but I'm gonna come out alive. So that's the. They got the viral 100 men versus a gorilla.
Yeah.
That's the next thing. Is that?
A man and an alligator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you got anything else for us, Coach?
I don't. Man, I appreciate y'all having us on, or having me on, and I think this is really awesome. And I wish nothing but success for y'all doing this, and being able to kind of say come something from our side, and y'all being coaches and things. I mean, where it comes. You know how the language that we talk and the things that we go through, and it's a lot. There's a lot that you do, and for y'all to allow us to do this, man, I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much for this.
Yeah, we
Thank you,
appreciate the
Coach,
kind words, and
good luck
yeah,
to you.
we wish
Yeah.
you the best of luck this year. And if you need anything from us, let us know.
Well, let me know when y'all come through Nocona. We'll go trace.
All right.
We'll get the O special.
Hey.